welcome to a late night X feed special edition with me, this yeller. What's going on? If this is your first time watching, hello, thank you for checking out the channel. Hopefully, you'll stay for a few moments as we dive into things that are going on with Fluff World. What we're going to do as well is rewatch the founders interview that I did with Aaron and Shara. I'm going to break down all of the behind the scenes that happened or my thought processes as things were happening. It's kind of spontaneous. So if you want to let anybody know that's in the Futureverse ecosystem, share this up. But here's some of the news from today. And man, it's things are looking spicy. Behind every great empire is a great team. Recruit your favorite characters to maintain buildings, automate gatherings, and improve production rates. Show us who you're bringing along for the ride. And we have several collections. And as I've been saying, nonstop the past little bit, I think that we want to play into everybody being maxis of various collections. Because I don't know, when I look at this, I'm like, okay, there's a Pudgy Penguin, there's a Dead Fella, Walker World, several different Fluff World assets. Oh my goodness, it's a Doodle and a Cool Cat. And we all get to play in a game that we like. When marketing, good morning. Welcome to the show. And that thingy, listen, the other reason why we're doing this stream, we got to have a talk. I have a green egg that's listed, one of the Franklins, and one of the gold backpack thingies. Because listen, we love Silo. I'm looking at Plug, what you get from Auto, and I'm like, damn, that's a play too. A little bit more patience with that one. But rocking with Alibaba Cloud to KYC, when they have their asset onboarding, when they have other crypto, they're able to put onto it, exchange for it. We know that Root's connecting multiple chains, and we're seeing that. Does Auto do the same thing, but potentially on a bigger scale? A lot of questions. Of course, Buzzies, Seekers, these things are going for like $40. Like, genuinely. It's crazy with how much potentially this could yield. With Root, again, 312 million Root. Insanity. We had a full X feed earlier today. If you guys want to see the Pokemon snags of the day and all the good stuff, be sure to go check that out. Traditionally, but again, tonight we're doing a little bit of a special Futureverse focused X feed. And more news that we got today. Silo to the world. Trader Pops. Holy hell. Glad you're here, brother. Good to see you. Truly. And Aaron highlighting, we've been playing with another level of interoperability beyond the engine, game, and chain layers. How does something feel like it belongs in a world when you take it there? How does a party bear fit into a Doodles world or altered state machine world or Zerpmon, etc.? And these look so high quality, so high fidelity. These are the things. When I made the comments yesterday about the open trailer and the avatars just not having that sleek look, this is what we're this is yes YES. This is cool. Really kind of puts you into the style and shows how it can kind of convert and not look super awkward either. I love it. Very exciting. And also tweeting my mood right now. So bullish on all things Futureverse and the Root Network. He said at WGMI, sir, it's WAGME. There is an A in this. That's unbelievable. Free pass. 3D Gen AI by the Altered State Machine Music generated by Gen Music AI. We can hear it. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, School of Rock. All right, that was unbelievable. Unbelievable. And also, holy smokes, there's like a supply of 10 billion Silo, and we almost have a mill of it staked, and like half the supply is still not out. What is, Trader Pops, talk to me. What's going on? This is crazy. Yeah, we got like 4 different happenings, right? With Silo. Asset register, Silo graph, metaverse notifications. I don't know if that one's incentive. Well, the the incentivized asset register. Again, holy mo, guys, This is crazy. We're talking about, this could be like an ancient stream. Remember when like Bored Apes? Go, guys, if you're on YouTube, go check out my most popular video, and it's like number one, two, or maybe three. There's a video of me laughing when I was like 15. It's really cringe. There was some kid at Subway. Anyway, um, if you're wanting to check that out, people commented so much about how this is history. We were one of the few people to capture it, and guys, we might be doing it again. Kind of crazy. Well, I don't know why I have that there twice. Oh, and then as well for the segment podcast, guys, I am doing a little bit of an RWA feature, and I was able to interview Luca Netz of Pudgy Penguins, and we talked about partnerships during this. Listen, I didn't want to be like, hey, listen, there's this thing called Futureverse. I need to know the details. I didn't want to be that guy, you know what I mean? But he explicitly said that he didn't want to take partnerships unless it was very mutual beneficial and can get the eyes of penguins to millions. And it was crazy. If you want to check that out again, those are in the various bios of the social media. Okay, let's go over the interview. Okay, so this is hilarious. I am ready 5 minutes before, and I was able to meet Carmen. Shout out Carmen if you're watching this. Absolutely lovely. And I think we were like unsure of the Zoom call, or they wanted to like double check. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I was like, hi, Carmen. Hopefully this goes well. She's like, it'll do great. I'm like, okay. And then so she leaves. Aaron joins, and I'm like, oh shit. Okay, what do I do? Yo, I'm Tolly. What's going on? What do I do? Yo, Aaron's here. Hey, how's your day? How's your day going? Pretty relaxing. Because I was like, man, I need to ask like, how his days go. No, that's like kind of weird. You have to be different, right? You want to like stand out. And so I took the safe route of saying, how's your day going? But I tried to make it different by saying pretty relaxing, like assuming that, he had a relaxed day. And why the hell would he have a relaxed day? Anyway, so that was stupid as hell. And then uh Shara joins, and then like they do this like a little bit of like, I don't remember if it was a pep talk exactly, because I'm like, oh my god, Aaron and Shara are here. I gotta like make sure this goes live. Hopefully all the feeds work. And then she says like the most perfect line to set me up to make this the best intro ever.
Just cause winners win.
Represent.
Winners win. That's the way that we're starting things off here. Because I said, okay, I'm starting the 10-second countdown. And then they just started talking to each other. And I was like, oh, God. Okay, all right, we're going to work with this. And then boom, straight out of the gate. Because I wasn't going to be like, okay, we're live. Because that would have been super awkward to start. So we let it flow. And listen, the flow worked. Guys, welcome to XFeed. This is typically a show where I do Monday through Friday, and we just talk about Web3. And like usually 20 to 30% of the conversation is me talking about Futureverse. And today, holy sweet guacamole, we get to talk to the two giants, Shara and Aaron. Guys, thank you so much for swinging by. But I want to start. So I had like a list that I was like, okay, so I'm going through all these different topics. I kind of have like an idea of what I'm going to say. And then as soon as we had that intro where it was the winners win, everything went out the window. I was like, oh, where do we start? Okay. And then we just landed on, hey, give us a general update on your thoughts. And this is how my brain was working. Here with kind of something that's a little bit more relaxed, if I will. So what do you call an empty jar of Cheese Whiz? Oh, yo, I forgot I did the joke. Yo, this was like literally a 30-second decision right before it happened. Like I'm talking, there was like 2 minutes. I was like, okay, we're gonna make this intro great. And then we did this.
God, I have no idea where this is going to go, but I'm nervous.
Cheese was. All right, fantastic.
You stumped us.
So listen, the amount of things that are happening within Futureverse, the Root Network, it's coming down and it's fast. We have the second book for Project Tempest. RNS just launched their name service. We have the Tradeverse coming by. We have Root Punks. A whole bunch of stuff is happening, and it just seems like the ecosystem is kind of on fire in a way. And I'm just kind of curious, your guys' kind of just general sentiment, if we can start off here. And Aaron, we'll start with you if we can.
Yeah, man, I think I sent a tweet out on X the other day. Just I'm feeling the vibe, man. I think the awesome thing to see as a creator who's trying to build a platform for other people to create the future of the internet on is other people doing that. and doing a good job of it. And the number of people now that are building, great projects, the way that they're executing on those things, the pipeline of new builders that we have coming on board that aren't announced yet, like it's all making me feel extremely happy.
It's really weird to think about the fact of them talking about all the stuff that's to come, because if you think about how for like Ronin in the early days, Flow in the early days with Top Shot, we started seeing a huge ecosystem emerge. I mean, Solana, the only project most people could name was like DJ and Ape Academy, Solana Monkey Business, and like Star Atlas on Solana. And then boom, there's all these other protocols, projects, and Solana's absolutely on fire. Ripple having things, Cardano partnering with Argentina. Like it's wild to think of just like the exponential growth that a lot of these other chains have had. And this is kind of like a foreshadow of that, if you will.
Bullish and proud of the work that the team has been doing to get to this point. And like I said, I think this is the beginning of a very special ride for all of us, because really what it comes down to at the end of the day is we're here to like start the fire, and to pour some gas on it every now and then with the big shit that we do. But ultimately, the success of this comes down to the community and how they get on with doing the work of co-building with us. And that's the really exciting change that we've seen recently, is going from core fans who love what we're doing to seeing those people take that next step to like, shit, I'm going to build too.
I think that it's funny to think about Shara and talking about manifesting, and I feel people say different things, and that was something that like I kind of connected with. I was like, hey, if you really think about something, you can do it. And obviously, you've been working with all these massive brands. Aaron's rocking the Reebok here. I tried to make it some kind of alpha thought when he originally was rocking the Philly hat, but apparently it was, at least we understand, So I remember, listen, guys, we have a problem with speculation in Web3. So he was wearing the NFL hat at some, I think it was the YouTube video with Crypto Eddie. And I was like, we're partnering with the NFL for sure. It's absolutely a leak. And I was like, oh, like nothing came of that. Ha ha ha. But then they were like, well, joining you in the fanship, Shara, there. But what do you kind of have in the pipeline here? Are you guys?
Who says it's not alpha?
Well, I mean, that's the thing here. Is it secretly alpha being a Phillies fan?
You never know.
You never know. And I say Phillies here, and somebody pointed out that he's wearing like a Philadelphia Eagles, so it's not the Phillies, the baseball team. And I'm like, okay, like I know the difference, but like I guess I was trying to put like a fun slang on Philadelphia.
I mean, if you put together the clues, then you'll see that there's been some announcements about international territories relating to NFL teams, and they might just
international territories relating to NFL teams. What the hell does that mean? I was so confused when she said it. I was like, is this in reference to like the NFL playing in Europe? That feels too easy. Maybe they're going on like a worldwide tour. Maybe that means that it's in the metaverse. I know that like the NBA signed some deal for like 60 plus million today. Different sport, but still massive rights.
be interesting international territory. So
Yeah.
I guess we'll have to see what comes from my love of football.
There we go. So I want to talk about Futureverse and the Root Network, which of course is what we're doing here, but the interoperability of things. And as a user, we're seeing, okay, so we have this collection that started with Ethereum NFTs within the fluff. I mean, so I got kind of like cooked here because technically they've done like a lot of other stuff behind the scenes. And like, if you really go back, I think that, there's a lot here. So technically I'm slightly historically wrong, but it works. World. And now we have an entire network in the Root network, but it's also being connected within the Silo network. We have the ASM protocol. It's EVM compatible. It's connected to the XRP ledger. Holy smokes, there's a lot going on. But I mean, how is this system poised to actually transform what is kind of the digital future? And as you mentioned in like the video that I had is like the promo about creating the future of the internet. And Aaron, if we can start with you on that. Yeah, it's a banger promo.
Yeah, I mean, I think the premise of the future of the internet, or what we've kind of been calling the open metaverse, is openness. And so if you think of openness as the starting point for the way that you're going to achieve success, then it makes sense that things can live in different places. And I've never been a fan of the mantra that infrastructure, a single kind of infrastructure can work for every kind of application. You do need application-specific infrastructure. It's how technology works. Anyone who tries to sell you something else is an idiot and doesn't understand technology. And so building systems that connect things and making Root the hub of that connectivity is the core to the vision. And you talked about like starting with a collection on Ethereum. We started even further back than that, thinking about how protocols can interact with each other at a more fundamental layer than the content side of things. And so the mission from the very beginning when we looked at this was, how do you make these things that are somewhat independent and disconnected at an infrastructure level work together for a better user experience, because that's the future of decentralized infrastructure. And so that's really what the mission has been, and what Root Network is built to try and do.
And when we're talking about really making a splash, Shara, it feels kind of like you're the one that's in charge of connecting all the pieces together here. So from your point of view, how has it been doing that and trying to connect to a blockchain that, sometimes the world still kind of questions the new wave of tech? I don't know why I always ask, but it feels like there's still like a huge stigma around things that are like on the blockchain. So I was really intrigued to see what she says here.
I think that everything is about allowing and giving IP and brands and individuals the opportunity to do something they haven't done before, and to experiment with things and play with things. And so I think the reality is that everything connects. I mean, that's the reason why we use the tagline for the Root Network: anything can be connected to anything, because the reality is you can connect anything to anything if you figure out how. And I think that's the beauty of what we're doing inside. Obviously, sometimes it's a little hard to piece together, how does this connect with this? But there is a big vision behind what it is. And I think that what we're seeing from a brand perspective is they're not getting caught up in, oh, this blockchain or that blockchain. A lot of the voices online are getting caught up in things that don't matter, to the point where Aaron and I were having a conversation this morning around identity. And it's been a word that's been tied so much to a piece of technology that exists at the identity point within the user journey. But identity is so much more than a wallet. It's who you are and how you show up in the world, and what
As
you
a
wear
Pokemon
when you show up,
collector.
and how you think about who you present as. And so for us, we're trying to make the vision macro. So we stop looking in the weeds at the little pieces of, well, is it this? And are we executing this particular thing? Like you just brought up from a connectivity standpoint, everything connects if you just step back and you stop getting caught up in the definitions of particular words. People aren't looking at this saying, well, what blockchain is it on? They're looking and saying, wait, is this avatar that you're talking to me about creating, does this allow me to connect with the consumer behind that avatar? Connection has long been what humans have strived to achieve in every form of communication and interaction. We're doing the same thing. We're just staying out of getting caught in the nuances that hold people back. And that's why I think sometimes it's hard to see how all of this comes together, but there's a rhyme and a reason to everything that we do.
A little bit of a rhyme and a reason. And then, of course, I don't wait a second and then Aaron wants to jump in. Jeez. Also, if you notice in the background here, the scene moves, I had to like learn how to crop out like 3 boxes, watched like several YouTube videos of it, got it like super wrong. I think I did about like 30 different files, and then we got it. Then we got it to work. Thought it looks really good. But what does Aaron have to say on the topic? Yeah, well, Herman, what's going on, brother?
Just to add to that, like my experience now is that brands and IP have moved beyond 2 things. One, doing it for the hype. They kind of tried that out and they got burned. And 2, doing it for a quick buck. And so what they are looking for is things that can add strategic value. They see Web3 as being more part of a strategic roadmap than they ever have before. They have expertise in their organizations that understands the nuance better than they understood it before. And we're making, they're asking for partners who can be adults in the room and help them contribute to their
Adults.
long-term strategic success. And so that's a good thing for Web3, and it's a great thing for us because we bring a mature proposition to the table for them. And like Shara said, they're no longer asking, which chain is this on? They're asking about how that they can deliver a better experience to their users. And so I think that paradigm change is really important to note, and that is from big brands.
I agree with that paradigm change. I think that's a good word. I've got to use that more because it does feel like it's kind of that moment. All you notice is me, Herman. Imagine looking at that guy right there and being like, "Yeah, that's an adult." And then right now he's sitting here behind a camera, no camera on, but we're here, and I'm looking at a first edition Slowpoke Pokemon card, another first edition Slowpoke Pokemon card. We got a Zubat Ponyta Mag. Listen, I'm in it for the art. The little first edition badge. Unbelievable. Rodney Mullins. Do you know my friend Rodney Mullins? Hello. Welcome on in. Guys, if you do want to share this with any of your Futureverse friends, we are going over. We still have like over another hour left of going through. Aaron's tweeting super bullishly. I'm listing some rare assets, trying to move into some tokens, I think. But then you see the stuff about TTK, and then you're like, oh my goodness, wait, are these rare things going to be better to hold? Do you go for floors? What's going on? Oh my goodness, is this going to be the Web3 breakout game? 300 million root. Holy jeez. You know how many Pokemon cards we can get with that much root? We got to be a good player in the game. You know what I mean? It's kind of those vibes. And it feels that everything's getting in motion. We have the engagement score. Everybody is feeling very vibish. If it's a multiplier on the future score for that mint, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness gracious. Are things going to start moving? Tradeverse coming up. We got the different punks, early days of everything. What is going on? It's crazy.
In the consumer space, that's from every movie, film, music studio, label, publisher you can name. It's from big tech players. It's from sports teams and global franchises in sports, and all of those things that we're doing this kind of content-centric domain. They're all asking the same questions and looking for a different kind of outcome than what they've perhaps played with before in this space.
I think during like the hype phase, there was a big problem of people being like, hey, I want to create something, but the tools weren't there. And that was one of the first things that really stood out to me from Futureverse is, we don't get to access all the tools right now, but from the papers and everything else, you guys are doing that. And so I'd like to kind of jump into Silo just a wee little bit here.
Silo.
Metaverse notifications, asset registers, Silo graphs, Silo oracles,
all powered by
the
Silo
it seems
token.
very, very exciting. But from my point of view, I don't know if it's supposed to be for the everyday user. A lot of that sounds like more for people who are building or wanting to create these experiences. So can you touch a little bit more on those?
Yeah, I think with all protocols, they are built. If they're being built right, they're being built for developers. That's the layer which they have to work for and do a good job for, because users experience things at the higher orders, the application layer, right? And so Silo is really about data availability. That's kind of the core value proposition there, is how do we store data and transport it so it's at the right place at the right time with the right fidelity, and right trustworthiness for that kind of data. And in order to do that, we need a robust protocol underneath that can store and transport that data. Notifications is one of those use cases. To say that it's not a consumer-centric proposition, though, wouldn't be the right way to frame it, because the value proposition for this stuff is that users' data can follow them, that their notifications can follow them, that their social graphs, their friends can follow them.
So I was reading Ready Player 2. I've been reading it the past 2 days, and I don't know if Arcadia is referencing the book or if it just happens to be that because of like the root network, but there's actually like a system in playing Ready Player 2 where it's called Arcadia, but like the second A is an at symbol, and it's like a toned down version of the Oasis. And there's other conversations about how all the social media platforms connect into one, and if that's what like metaverse notifications are, where you have your Facebook, your Instagram, your whatever, Discord, et cetera, all in one hub, makes it super easy. I mean, I guess it's like the internet already. But what if it's on these tracks? I mean, I don't know. Listen, Ready Player 2, the book, I feel like there's alpha in it.
That the way they interact with artificial intelligence can follow them. And so all of those things are user-centric propositions, but you have to build it in a way that developers can access. And the first like kind of use case for us is notifications, and I've seen the latest version of that working last week, and we're getting excited to start to integrate that into some of the applications and show how notifications can be used not only to keep people updated about what's going on, but also provide a transport layer for oracles and other things that can power new experiences inside of applications, games, and experiences.
Just out of curiosity, Shara, there was this thing about Reebok.
Okay, so in my head, I'm like, okay, I want to ask more about Silo, but I feel awkward about just throwing Shara some random ass question about Silo. So I try to like integrate the Reebok into this, and then I realized it just sounds kind of weird. But yeah, if I was gonna like critique anything of this, I feel like I probably would have worded this differently.
Impact. Does it happen to use Silo as well, or is Reebok Impact kind of its own little beast of its own on the side here? Because I want to get into Reebok Impact next.
Well, Reebok
so
is
in a sense that it does, because Silo is the data storage layer for the asset register, and so when we're creating those Reebok Impact digital collectibles, that all of these things connect to each other, like you said before. The layer at the asset register is part of Silo. Silo will be included in the application layer to keep people up to date on what's going on.
Silo is used everywhere.
Silo will be used to transport the information around the Murmur matrix if those shoes participate in the Murmur matrix from a content point of view. And so there's like layers to all of these things, and most certainly we are already using Silo in the background for Reebok Impact.
Okay, so for Reebok Impact, Shara, this is kind of the big piece that I would say that AI League was another one where you guys had a big partnership within FIFA, and everybody's kind of talked about like this mainstream audience, and I think there was like a click for everybody within the Futureverse ecosystem that was like, oh my God, they figured out how to integrate this within Instagram. And it's something that's very creative and also going to be used for these worlds. And I felt that it was really perceived quite well from the Futureverse community. How has it been overall from you? And for people that aren't in Web3, how have you seen kind of the attraction from it?
The response has been unbelievable. I think the reason why, and you're right, the community really hit on a key part of what we intended with the experience, which is our philosophy, which is that there's a lot of people out there screaming, we need to bring people into Web3. We're going the opposite way in traffic. We're saying, let's bring our tools to where people are, because that's how they'll use them without having to go the distance and try something new. Behaviorally, that has never worked in the past. So this was a beautiful example to showcase that philosophy of bringing all of our tools into a platform where everyone already is, and allow them to easily create an unlimited number of sneakers within a chatbot experience. That was, and do it so fluidly and seamlessly, where you had no idea all of the layers that were going on underneath it at all. Like, look, think about it. I mean, I will touch and say, we don't have anything in the Futureverse arsenal that we don't use. There's no piece of the puzzle that's sitting in the basement. Everything is being used at parts where you might not even know it, because it's a part of us testing certain ways of how we're going to scale for another experience to come, or a component that you shouldn't have to see, because it's not about breaking. You don't walk into a house and say, hey, let me pull down this part of the wall just so that I could check what's in this area and let me judge whether you put those wires together or not. You look at the house as a whole. And so that's what we hope people see, because they don't need to see all those pieces. And we understand why people want to get into it, because it's fascinating. If you could watch the whole detailed journey of everything that's going on here and that's moving and ticking at once, it's a beautiful factory that in one shot, you have no idea what's going on. The fact that my mom, who's a grandma, as Aaron mentioned in one of his areas, my mom has made 15 shoes, and she barely knows how to use Instagram. So she's not like on Instagram, like chugging along. She just was like, okay, I just have to find how to message. And once she messaged, she figured out what to do. She has no idea that she has a Web3 wallet. She has no idea what is actually going on underneath the hood. She just knows that she could go tell her friend she made a digital sneaker, which is a really big deal. So I think philosophically and tangibly, for what we're trying to achieve as a company, this was an amazing part of that narrative. It did something that frankly no one else has been able to do. And we're really proud of the creative, and the response has been amazing.
Really interesting to think about, like, is that actually something that nobody else in the space has done? Because there is a lot of collections that say, oh, we were like the first that did 3D assets, omni-chain NFTs, you know, whatever it be. And so if they were actually one of the first people to be able to do that connection. Now, is she talking specifically about Instagram, specifically with the shoes, with everything else? Like, I mean, Aaron's been talking about this Murmur Matrix, and I feel like that's a huge piece of it. And I think it touched on like the last ASM paper a little bit, but I'm very excited to learn more about all of this, because it does seem kind of like, you know, down the rabbit hole, for lack of a better term.
You know, talking about your grandma, I think it helps legitimize the industry in a way. And it's something that's different. People are able to see, experience what it's like. But do you think these businesses are going to start to realize how efficient it is to try to create something for consumers that are digital? I'll get into something a little bit later here that I have regarding the music industry, but it feels like that's just a smart thing to do from a business point of view.
So
I mean, I think that the answer though there is that is back to what we said earlier. It's like, and what we've always said really is that the minute people start talking about the technology, we've won. And I think that's where we're headed. Like, grandma isn't thinking about Web3 and wallets and digital, you know, NFTs and all those kinds of things. Grandma's thinking, I created a cool experience I can share with my grandkids. And that's the thing we tried to show with Reebok, that it was possible to deliver an experience where people didn't even know what was there underneath. And being able to show that to, you know, other brands and IP holders and all these other people that we're in business with, I think has been meaningful, because they don't want to have that conversation either. They want to talk about what the experience is for their users and how they can add value to their customers and how they can provide new experiences for their IP. They don't want to talk about technology.
Shara, was there anything you wanted to add to that?
I was just going to say that, to echo what Aaron just said, that brands just want a better way to connect with their consumers. And I think that to your point, and a big part of what we harp on is it's too complicated. These words, like, we never called Web 2 Web 2. So we're in the nuance, like the way that, not even new, but the way that we talk about it to brands is we use a term called digital connectable, because you're connecting to your consumers. This whole NFT
digital collect. Wait, hold on a minute. I need that phrasing again.
Web 2. So we're in the nuance, like the way that, not even new, but the way that we talk about it to brands is we use a term called digital connectable.
Digital connectable. All right, I think that's a new term that's been phrased. If anybody does the memes out there, there you go.
because you're connecting to your consumers. This whole NFT, digital asset, digital collectible focus on the wording and the vocabulary has kept us really siloed, no pun intended, into
We love
the
silo.
wrong area of focus. What we should focus on is how are we able to bring AI into places where consumers can create things that they imagine, how they can go and say, okay, I have an opportunity to creatively create, to make a sneaker that is from a memory in my real life. That's what an experience is. We've even used the word experience wrong. A lot of people are building games. That's not what we're trying to do. We are not building games. We're building experiences that change the way you interact with certain things without knowing it. That doesn't mean there aren't things that you play, but life should be about playing. I think it goes back to like when you think about little kids playing in a house, they don't like suddenly take one block and then there's a whole house. You have to put the blocks on top of each other. And that's what we're doing in the grand scheme of everything that we do, so that we can piece it all together, but then we can break it all apart and build a bunch of new things on the side. Because what I can tell you is no brand wants to do the same thing as another brand. They all want to say, how do we really create?
Except remember when like after Bored Apes came out, everybody just wanted to do exactly what Bored Apes did as a brand. Guess that's not how the real world works.
Change this. So someone's not going to come in and be like, could you build us what you did with Reebok? We want to do that exact same thing. So that's why we were really proud of what we did, because we did it first. No one did that through Instagram. No one did that through creatively putting AI into a place where people were and letting photos that already exist go on to create another asset.
Well, for brands and games, Muhammad Ali, TNL, we have racers. I don't think any brand is connected to that right now. Maybe there will be. We'll find out.
I remember Aaron's
ends up
eyes
happening,
going like
but
that during
the
it.
Futureverse community, I feel like.
Stay tuned.
Hey,
Stay tuned.
Okay. Hey, love to hear it.
So the question that I have regarding this, when they're talking about Racers as a branded game, who in the hell? Yeah, what's going on, Kid Arcade? Yeah. If you guys missed some of the early stuff, we talked about some of the jokes earlier on. Just wanting to go through this interview because I've actually never rewatched it, so I thought let's do it together. But them talking about the Racers brand, I was like, okay, so they keep talking about the DeLorean, how they're partnering with that. And so is that the unrevealed Atom car? Is that also the Racers brand? But it doesn't make sense that they act like it's a hidden thing that's not been announced, because that would insinuate that it's not DeLorean. So if anybody's got ideas of what you think the Racers partnership is, let me know.
So I feel like the community has kind of labeled a lot of the games that have launched so far for Futureverse under the Futureverse app, which is cool. I love when, I think it was you, Aaron, maybe it was Shara, that tweeted out the original like icon, and we're like, okay, we're getting the launcher, baby. But the aspect of proof of concept.
Oh, you're getting a launcher. You're getting.
We're getting a launcher. Okay. Bazooka. Boom. Anyway, so the
Wait, you're getting more than a launcher. We'll show you next week. What? Hold on a minute. Do we know what that is? Is that like the sign up differentiating? Nah, there's no way. There's got to be something more to that. Unless he was insinuating that, which is like really cool from like a developmental standpoint, but like for us, we're probably like, yeah, we already had the Web3 wallet. We're chilling.
The question I kind of have is like, it feels like when we're saying proof of concept, there's almost like this isn't really supposed to go anywhere, but we're constantly seeing updates for all these games as well. So like, how should we perceive when the term like proof of concept is used within like the Futureverse experiences right now?
I mean, I think we're trying to make sure we set expectations correctly. As anyone who knows this industry knows that building an audience around a game is hard, and we're trying to achieve two things with what we're doing here. One is to demonstrate how some of these new experiences work, so that we inspire other people to build with us. We're trying to show brands and IP what's possible with their IP. and how we can take the essence of those things and create bigger experiences for bigger audiences. But at the same time, we want to create something fun for the community and grow that community over time. And really, those three games for Grumble, Races, and the Next Legends, we're working hard on all of those things. They've helped us, progress and win IP deals. They've helped us have great conversations with brands about what they could do with consumers. We've had the world's largest technology companies look at what we did with Grumble and say, we want to dig into stream play and
world's
figure out how that can
largest.
work. And so I think it's doing the job at those levels. Where we're at now is, we'll have, this could probably be alpha, but we'll have prize fights and Royal Rumbles coming to Grumble. So adding that kind of win component to both of those games as well.
I feel like there's been some talks about how Grumble, the goblins haven't seen their full potential yet, which seems like that's kind of hinted at right there.
Those brains coming into Grumble shortly, and so we'll be able to then demonstrate something which I think is really important to Altered State Machine and Asto, which is how a single brain can transition between different games, applications, and experiences that are doing different things, very different things. And so we can really then go and push into developers with a good set of base use cases around how the brains and ASM protocol works to create this kind of transportable experience between games for AI. And so we're going to get behind that with a new kind of competition format, cross-game competition format. And so you'll start to see some really cool things come as a result of that. And each thing is a building block that builds up to the next level. And I think sometimes people imagine that it all happens at once, but that's just not reality of building a business and building scale. Is you kind of build the bricks, and then eventually you realize, after putting one brick after another and looking at that brick and seeing it move that little bit, when you step back, it's like, holy shit, I created this giant thing,
Oh, I mean, speaking of giant things here, the Futureverse platform, it sounds like it's kind of covering everything. We just talked about games. Shara, we have Gen AI that's coming up. We have all these other AI tooling that we're hearing about. Like, how do you describe the Futureverse platform for somebody that's kind of newer to the ecosystem and sees, hey, we have like some things, but also it feels like you guys have a lot of things behind the curtain as well? Sorry?
I don't think we're trying to sell everything to everyone. Like, that's not, I think that's also a kind of misconception that's out there, is that everyone has to know about everything. They don't, and there's going to be a whole segment of users, and there already is a growing segment of users that don't even know Futureverse exists. They're going through the Reebok, and they don't have to. They're going through the Reebok Impact experience, and they know that they've got this cool piece of digital content. But that's creating network value for everyone that does understand those things. And segmentation is this thing we keep coming back to in these conversations, is we're building things that cover 4 quadrants of segmentation, so that we can attract different users to different kinds of experiences, different developers for different kinds of applications, and without having to everyone to navigate all of those things. Of course, there'll be the super users out there that like do know everything, that dig into all the detail. You're on that list. There's a huge amount of our community out there. They're the ones that will be able to see the linkages and work out the network effect of those things. And we expect that community to keep growing and getting stronger. And but the vast majority of people will just do the thing they love and know the thing they love, and that's all that matters.
And same when we talk to IP and brands, and you've heard me mention this before, we have a 100-page deck. Every time I pull 4 slides out that I want to talk about, and I know which 4 to use for which different person. I don't try to be like, let me take you through the whole thing, because that's not how the world works. No one person knows everything about everything, and they shouldn't ever have to, like Aaron said. So I think we've absolutely seen people say, well, how much do you understand Futureverse? And does that mean that they haven't done good comms or good marketing if you don't understand it all and people don't understand how all the pieces connect? That's not what our intention is. We use the pieces that we need to use at the times we need to use them. The rest, we know all of the pieces. And that's really what it's all about. We're not there to make sure everyone and their mom knows the name Futureverse. And it's, in fact, it's supposed to be underneath. It will matter to all of the people that were on the ride from the very beginning and trusted that we had a grand vision and that we were executing it at the highest level at every moment.
So this is maybe going back.
Yo, and if anybody's got thoughts as we're going throughout this, feel free to mention down in the chat. Would love different opinions, things that you thought stood out. If you guys have any of them. But Kid Arcade, this is such a good interview. Thank you, thank you. To know how they think and approach the space is bullish. Yeah, it's nice to know the behind the scenes. Like one of the reasons that I was really excited about doing the interview was most of the ones they've done, it kind of felt like, you know, people weren't familiar with the ecosystem entirely. Like it was a very like baseline knowledge. And I feel that as kind of a group, we have the 30 minutes max and everything, but when we're able to get into like some of the more finer details here and having like Aaron and Shar really chat about those aspects, like that was, to me, that was really exciting because feels how many people have like gone down the road of this. But with that being said, I think the way that they've approached everything and the specific verbiage, like digital collect, I forget what the hell I forget what the terminology was, but they've thought about like everything. The fact that they have like 100-page deck, they've figured out how to add all these different layers, what's going to scale with things, and the reward system for like the root network, man, everything that's done on there has like a minor fee that's associated with it. Unbelievable. Like I know that the Vortex is all about the bootstrap rewards right now, but if this network really gets the numbers that they be talking about, holy guacamole.
Back a little bit, but I feel like I remember at one point that it was touted that the Third Kingdom was supposed to be like the quote unquote hero app of the Futureverse launcher ecosystem. I'm not sure the phrase.
So this was a little bit confusing to me because Aaron says that no, like we've been really clear that TTK isn't the hero app, but hear me out for a second. I'm positive that they talked about the Third Kingdom being the hero app, and it's fine that it changed. I don't have like any issue with that whatsoever. Obviously Open's like much bigger that way, but I think the like the understanding or like the flow or just I guess like maybe lack of mention from that is where I kind of thought about. So yeah, he I don't think Aaron loved that I said it this way, but he does correct it and say no, it's about Open
for it. But do we still think that's the case, or is Open kind of walked up and been like, hey, we want to be the main kids in town?
I think we've actually been really deliberate and clear about the fact that the Third Kingdom has become a game that's primarily focused on the strategy simulation resources game, and that Open is the hero MMO experience. I think that's an upgrade. Like if you think about like the Third Kingdom being something that could have been pretty cool, but now we get to supercharge that idea with world renowned IP and not just Ready Player One as well. And so I think that'll be a much better, more scalable, funner, higher quality experience than people would have got from what our initial plans were for Third Kingdom as an MMO. I very rarely say things like this because I want to be kind of careful and respectful, but I really don't think there is anything else out there in Web3 that will be able to stand up to what is happening with Open in terms of the range of IP, the quality of the team behind it, the potential for user acquisition. I mean, then people might argue about this technology or that technology, and this engine or that engine or whatever it happens to be. But at the end of the day, consumers don't really care about that shit. What they care about is playing with the things that they love, and open is going to be I think the premier place in Web3 for people all around the world who love IP to come and experience that IP in new ways.
Wow. Listening back to that, holy guacamole. That guy was hella bullish. Also, I felt like I needed to react to that. So if anybody was looking at me, I took my glasses off and tried to be dramatic. Looking back, you can't really tell that was going on. It was pretty good acting to be, I think, but wow. That was knowing that I did that and rewatching it. What a goofball.
The Third Kingdom is like a bedrock of what we've talked about, this material world, and put the paper out about the material world.
The material world is insane, and for anybody that doesn't know, basically it's a paper that's written describing how in real life there is assets and you need people to build, produce, whatever, right? Like everything's made by something, and the material world sounds like they're trying to build like an entire ecosystem that's based off of digital things, and it's pretty crazy. Like I'm definitely not doing it justice on the breakdown there by any means, but the understanding is that not only is there like 312 million root available within the Third Kingdom, if you're playing the game, these lands are extracting resources and stuff that's going to seed these bigger games, which is like open, and it's like, oh, okay.
The bedrock of the underlying economies of these games and ecosystems. So it's not just powering one experience anymore, which is what we kind of started out with, but really providing a foundation which other experiences, including open, can build on top of for their economies. And that's a really important cog in the wheel. So we're hoping to deliver a great gaming experience. You can already see in our weekly updates, it's looking fucking fire. So it's going to be fun to play, and we think that'll be something people want to do. I think it'll be rewarding for those who play it well. That'll be another aspect of Third Kingdom. And then it will additionally offer the opportunity to kind of bootstrap this material world concept and lay a foundation for other games to build on top of.
Shar, I feel like you've done this thing where you're like, hey, Aaron, hold off on like the alpha, but this guy.
I totally cut off Aaron there. You see that? He was about to say another thing there. I didn't even catch that live. Hold on, we got to rewatch and see the embarrassment live.
Offer the opportunity to kind of bootstrap this material world concept and lay a foundation for other games to build on top of.
Shar, I feel like you've done this thing where you're like, hey, Aaron, hold off on like the alpha, but this guy's spitting some fire today. I'm excited.
He knows the only alpha he's not allowed to say. We have an agreement. We have an agreement.
Shara called me before this, and you're not allowed to say this. I will shoot you.
What do you think the one thing they're not allowed to say is? I mean, we've seen Tencent. We've seen Alibaba. We've seen Lang, the Gen AI guy. Unbelievable. NVIDIA. Partnered with Doodles, Pudgy Penguins, DeLorean, Ready Player One, the author himself, the movie producer himself. What are they not allowed to say?
Clear. Everything else he can say. But the reality to that point is there's different things for different audiences. And I think that a lot of what's going on in the space is that everyone's screaming in an echo chamber. We don't even want to be in the echo chamber. We want to build some things for some audiences. There are going to be people who want to play strategy games, who want to play to earn, who want to be a part of the nuance and detail that is required, the strategic thinking. And there's a lot of people who don't. And so that's the reality, is that I think when you position it as, well, the community thought that Third Kingdom was going to be the hero experience. Expectation sometimes is the death of what can be. And if you have a small subset of the market that's going to play a particular way, then build an amazing experience for them and keep them there, yes. But we don't have to put certain banners on certain things. Like Aaron said, there is a place and a strategy and a vision to what the Third Kingdom is, and there's a different one for open, which targets a different group of people that has different incentives and different lore and different IP to join. And I think everyone will see ultimately how that will unfold, that we have two great places to go based on how you want to use your mind any particular day.
It's getting hot in here, guys. Holy smoke! So I had a thought, Shara, and I'm curious if I'm crazy here. You can
Why did I say it like that? Like, okay, cool. We got a breakdown of things. We're bullish. Oh, it's getting hot in here, dude. We're talking about NFTs. Holy jeez.
shoot down my thoughts as hard as you want here. But the music industry, I feel like potentially has one of the biggest, or could be one of the biggest benefactors of this kind of digital age. When I'm thinking of back to COVID, there was like virtual concerts and people just streamed, and it was a great experience. But then, you know, there's these concerts and I've gone to them. You have to drive out of town. There's hotels. I can just imagine it's like a nightmare in terms of cost for production and whatnot. But if you're able to do these where it's on like a global stage, I know you like Taylor Swift. Imagine if all of her concerts were in an experience where people are able to pay in different kind of denominations depending on what their experience are. These digital assets again can be created and be way more cost efficient for these brands. But at the same time, we're having, you know, some big articles went out where I think you retweeted the other day from Sony that was sending out all these notices to people building AI tools for just music in general. So I'm curious your thoughts on if you foresee music potentially being one of the biggest benefactor of these virtual experiences.
I think the world's going to benefit from virtual experiences because the reality is we're already in them. They're a means to connect to consumers. I think the music industry will benefit as much as entertainment, and the music industry has nuance that a lot of people don't understand. And obviously when we launch Gen, which will be very soon, people will understand what side of the table we sit on. As it relates to what Sony came out and did, they should have. People are stealing music to create pieces of technology. It's Napster all over again. And Napster, we saw how that ended and what happened there. And we believe, I think when you think about what's going on with entertainment and music, fundamentally, we believe that the creator, big or small, from Taylor Swift on down to you making art in your bedroom, you create something, you put something out into the world, and you deserve to be compensated, and you deserve to be fairly a part of whatever you go on and sell or create and do. And we believe that that's how we should structure everything that we're a part of. We are not going to be a part of stealing things. We're not going to be a part of doing it the wrong way. We're going to be the people that sit down and look at a problem and say, if we want to innovate here, innovation is not only in technology. Innovation is in communication, it's in strategy, it's in business model, it's in revenue model, it's in participation from people who might have gotten cut out before, not because they necessarily should have been, because it was just easier to cut them out. So I think there's a lot of nuance. And to your point of the virtual concerts, there's a lot of reasons business-wise and economic-wise that we haven't seen the scale at scale. We've seen, obviously, within Fortnite, we've seen Travis Scott do amazing numbers. We've seen a lot of musicians do amazing stuff. We've seen I have a portfolio company, Wave, who has done amazing virtual concerts with Bieber and Calvin Harris and a bunch of amazing people.
Wave.
The scale will come from that when interoperability continues to scale. And that's why a lot of the stuff that we're doing underneath the hood may seem a little bit unsexy or may seem like buzzwords at times, but it's a means for the whole thing to rise so that you can consistently see more ways to engage with the entertainers or the IP that you love, and being able to do that in a way where they can participate in it too. Because the reason that a particular large artist isn't bringing their entire touring market to a virtual concert is because their touring strategy and the business of their live touring is a significant revenue stream for them that they're not going to cannibalize just to test one thing where an audience may not be ready yet. So it kind of goes back to what I say a lot, which sounds philosophical, but timing is everything. And you'll see the way we launch certain things and how we launch them at a particular time is because of our strategy. There's a lot of strategy behind the scenes. And even when we joke about Aaron giving alpha, we tell you everything if we could, But also, if you knew everything about where you're headed in life, it wouldn't be as exciting anyway. So you're like, you want to know, and then you also don't want to know.
To be honest, if I knew that I was going to get a full collection of first edition Pokemon cards today, I would like to know that. That would warm my heart.
The simple answer to your question is music will be transformed just the way movies and TV and everyone will be transformed by simply the evolution of the internet.
Now, everything's telling me not to ask, but Aaron, she mentioned soon. How soon?
Yo, I remember, I don't know if it was right here or a bit later, but I don't know why. I just always felt awkward being like, yo, Shara, give me the alpha. You know what I mean? Like, it feels like she was mad that I didn't ask her for the alpha. Yo, I felt horrible. Yo, DJ Jack, what's going on, brother?
Oh, you're asking him? Why didn't you ask me?
Well, I mean, I thought he was the one that leaks. Okay, listen, Shara, how soon are we talking here? How soon are we talking?
Soon as soon.
Soon as soon. Okay.
Pretty soon.
Correct. Okay.
Very soon.
Very
Pretty
soon.
soon.
Pretty, very nice. Beautiful. Okay. So, quick question regarding Ethereum NFTs.
I think that the real answer to that question is the tech is ready. We love it. It's, everyone who's touching it loves it. We've taken a different approach to building it to others that are out there, which has taken a little bit longer. And we're proud of that. And that'll become evident when we kind of launch it, why that's important. But it's just now the kind of other bits around the launch, partners, announcements.
The partners, the Gen AI music guy, Lang, unbelievable. Yeah, I don't want to be pesky. You're right.
Some great artists that are on board creating with it, all of that kind of stuff.
Timing is everything, right? I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah.
So I wanted to quickly talk about the Ethereum NFTs that collections companies that we've recently partnered with, because it feels like there's a narrative within the space of people saying, the old guard is dead. They're not doing anything cool. But Futureverse is out here saying, hey, do you guys want to partner up? So what have you guys kind of seen that you really like about some of the other collections that are very notable?
I was very curious what they were going to say here.
I'm not sure which one of you wants to kind of jump into that first.
I think, like we've kind of always said, the mission is the open metaverse, and there's these great communities out there with great content, and I think you're right. Some of them kind of looking for opportunities to do something else with that content, and we've always maintained the view that if this, the value proposition of NFTs is ownership, right? But ownership is meaningless without interoperability. And so us being able to kind of reach out to these other communities and say, hey, let's show the value of NFTs through openness and interoperability is good for everyone. It's good for them and their communities. It's good for us and our communities. It's good for us and our technology. And the platforms that we're building to demonstrate to the world that there is something different about the way that this technology can deliver a value proposition to users. If we don't show that, we don't prove that, then the whole thing's a meme. The whole thing is pointless. And Shara talked a little bit earlier about some of the unsexy stuff. There's kind of these deep standards, based tech things that we're doing with the way assets are created and distributed between applications. That's kind of boring, but at the same time, the most important thing, because without that, we don't prove why Web3 is important. And particularly, I think, to the mainstream gamer audience, they've looked at this space and said, there's this trading meme going on if you're interested in doing that, but from a game and experience point of view, we don't see the value. And if we do one thing with everything we're doing at Futureverse to show how different content owned by different people, built by different people, can interop in applications, then I think our mission is well advanced by doing that. And it's been really great, actually, under the surface, collaborating with the teams behind those projects, because they fundamentally believe the same thing.
So I'm curious, as you guys are kind of at the stage where everything seems to be kind of lining up for the big unveil of what's going on, is there any big challenges you guys are facing? Is there anything that the
If I remember correctly, this response, I think she highlighted how everything that they have launched has been really significant. Because I think maybe the delivery of how I said that was like, oh, what you guys haven't done, or sorry, what you guys have done isn't the big unveil, even though I feel like it has. But I would argue, as somebody who's in the community, it feels that, some things haven't like expanded. We're getting noticed around here and there, but there hasn't been like a whole lot of new people kind of jumping into some of the different experiences. And again, every time, as I usually do X feed every day, Monday through Friday, we talk about the space as a whole from other people's tweets, and Futureverse is left off of almost every chart of what's the top NFTs, whether it's good lists, bad lists, even how much companies have raised. That was something we talked about yesterday. And they're never on the list, even though even though for half of them they would be middle of the pack to the upper end on like how much they've raised, but the space still doesn't really know about it. It's weird. So that was kind of like part of the way that I worded that with the big unveil. But here's what you had to say.
humble community, let's go, everybody in the chat, can do to help elevate you guys as you're kind of on this journey?
I mean, I think we have an awesome group of community members out there that get behind us and support us and love what we're doing. I won't say that that's always that they're always kind of in a positive mode.
Yeah, true.
Let's be honest
Fud
about
City,
that. But at the
baby.
same time,
Funverse.
we know that there is this fundamental.
Yo, why is there not something started around Fudverse? There's no way none of you people in the community have done that. That is the prime opportunity. Fudverse of Futureverse. There you go. That's your freebie.
Kind of core community who believes in the vision and does their darndest to tell everyone else about it. I think that's kind of one of the superpowers. What we're seeing now, I think, and we started off the show talking about this, is the transition from believers into builders. And more of that we see, the more that everyone's going to benefit from this. I think probably the other thing is just like patience. I know that that sounds maybe disconnected because people feel like they've been there for a long time, and in some senses they have. But we suffer a little bit at Futureverse from this kind of conglomerate discount, let's call it, where we're doing so many things that everyone looks at it and is like, that's just too complicated to get my head around. But the thing about that is that if you pull it off, then you become Apple or Google or Microsoft, and so it's a harder path. It takes a bit more effort, takes a bit more time. It's harder for people to get in the beginning, but if you pull it off, you're outsized, you're asymmetrically more powerful than people who don't. And
somebody's got to clip
we're
that.
on that journey, and if people can kind of get their heads around that, then I think that'll help us together as a community get out there and push this thing further. Like I said, we're here to spark the fire and pour gas on it from time to time, but you're the guys that keep it going.
It takes a lot more energy to look at the things that you don't like than to look at the things you do and be in awe and magic of them. And I think that the way that Aaron and I stay laser focused in an area that has a lot of focuses, because people will ask us like, you're moving a mile a minute and you're doing a million things a minute, yet we're laser focused. And the way that we're laser focused is we look at the things that are working, and when we do, we continue to move them forward, and then everything else starts to catch up. And so that's the beauty of your choice at any moment, is to choose the things you love and not the things you don't. And when we talk about manifesting, that's kind of the secret. So we're hugely grateful to the community for all of their support, and frankly, actually, when people step up and start to knock it, it's amazing to see what the community will go do and support it, because like we said, they understand and they're in the weeds, and those are the people we want to be in the weeds. But don't feel like everyone has to be in the weeds, because there's something for everyone. And when you feed someone something, they're really happy if they're looking at the thing that they love and they had an amazing experience with that particular thing. So that's what we do to execute and to keep building the way we're building. And we're incredibly proud of the teams that we have, the way that they're focused, the way that we're executing. I mean, I just want to go back without going back to really hit the reality. What we did to build Reebok on Instagram, no one in this space has done. Everyone's talking about working with big brands and all these things and all their announcements. And what went on in that building with Reebok, or all the buildings. I think everyone's seen me go back and forth to Boston and New York, and I've been all the way up with Todd, and you name it in that company. We're in there so deeply, and they're so proud of what's been done because no one has come in to innovate with technology. And so that's the thing, is that's just one example of the things that you're going to continue to see from us. You just said, oh, we're waiting for the big thing. Everything is a big thing.
There we go. That was
So it's not like,
I was
let's
like,
sit
damn
and
it.
wait for
She
some
just
big
cooked
thing.
me.
It's, let's look at all the things we're doing, because what we're delivering on a daily basis is 20 times more than what we see most people deliver. And even the term proof of concept, I think the way you asked the question was right, so that people can understand, but or not right, but a good way to position it. But I do think that what in life isn't a proof of concept? You're proving some concept and then iterating it until it becomes exactly what you need it to be. So we don't think we have anything that isn't a proof of concept in life. And that's how you should build, so that the metaverse will never be finished. We've said that a lot of times before, but it will never be fully built. So everything is just a piece of the puzzle. And that's kind of how we view what we do.
Stand back.
I was about
Shara totally cooked me on that. Listening back. Oh, jeez.
to say I'm taking the
But-
over
but
on
great
Shara
description.
writing a book one day about manifesting and all these terms. I'm ready for it.
I just do it in real time. I invite you all to do it with us, because imagine what would happen if we all put our mind to one thing. In fact, you know what? And I didn't even tell Aaron this, but I have a text from someone in relation to the alpha that Aaron is not allowed to say. And when I can reveal who sent me this text, it says, unbelievable. I know you can do anything you put your mind to. After I
Unbelievable.
told him what
Unbelievable.
we did. And that's where it's true. Put your mind to it and do it. And so we're sitting in that seat, and we welcome anyone that wants to get into our boat and sail
And do
with us.
unbelievable things.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Oh my goodness. All right, so I'm going to try to do an unbelievable thing. I got about 10 questions here. We have like 10 minutes left. We're going to go through a rapid fire here. I didn't really think about, okay, who we're going to position for. So, Shari.
Okay, so here's the questions. Oh my goodness. So I had a whole bunch of questions, and they were all very poignant. And if you're not in the ecosystem, you'd have no idea. You'd have no idea. Some of these things is talking about like goblin amulets and specifics, special things regarding like silo, just like all over the place, but like very, very specific. And I was just kind of hoping for like yes, no, maybe so, quick rapid fire. Don't need to break everything down, but let us be allowed to speculate a little bit, right? This was my moment to shine for the community and get that speculation out there. And then Shara, I don't know if she knew that I was going to go down a rabbit hole or anything, but she smelled something and she was like, whoa, hold on, and completely 180'd on me. And I was shell shocked.
You get to answer first, and then Aaron, you can jump in. Maybe 30 seconds each.
Are
You can
they
also
fun
say
facts?
pass.
Are they fun facts or work things?
It's work things. I suck. Now that you mention that, I feel
Where's the fun? Where are the fun facts?
I know. Oh my goodness.
I was actually gonna tell you that we were maybe gonna get ready to launch Jen on my birthday, but then I was like, you should put there. That'll give you a clue. You didn't ask anything fun though, like when's your birthday and what are you doing for it?
When's your birthday?
You're all
Is it awkward now if I do that though? That's the question. What if we all get you birthday presents? Can we have like a root address that we can all send things to?
Panicking.
Captain.root.
Wait, isn't that your wallet? Yeah,
Aaron's like, send all of Sarah's birthday presents to my wallet. I'll get them to her. No, I was just asking for the fun, because that's the point. We have way more fun than anyone believes that we have. I think
Facts.
that's the point. We're not out here like, we're out here loving what we do, and that's why amazing stuff is happening.
So am I allowed to go to the unfun questions, or didn't even?
It's like I need a
Didn't even
fist
work
for the
on the
alpha.
fly. Okay,
Try
well,
to
listen, I
inspire
can think of some of the different things here, but okay, so will we see Professor Jenny Bryan again? Listen, we're showing the apes. We've had Jenny Bryan pop up here and there. Are we gonna be able to learn more about her story soon?
Again, if you don't know the ecosystem,
Yeah,
you
it's
don't know who
actually
the
one
hell
thing,
Jenny Bryan is.
Not specifically Jenny Bryan, but I think we'll start to introduce a new face of ASM out there in the market, and been kind of a lot of back behind the scenes work, and you've seen us pop up with the vision paper on ASM 2.0. Next iteration of that paper coming out with a bit more detail on the protocol layer and how that affects the way that brains and ASTO and all those kinds of things work, and so and how it interops with the Murmur matrix on a protocol level. And so as part of that, we'll start to kind of introduce a new person to kind of lead the community on that side of things, and so I'm excited about that. Maybe they'll take Jenny Bryan as their moniker and go ahead from that point of view.
It's Hot Dog King. I'll just reveal it right now.
That's actually the thing. That's gonna be wild to see the narrative across Web3. Hey guys, you seen Futureverse? They are the Hot Dog King.
It's really
The
funny.
mascot.
Almost every time, no, not almost, literally every time we put out a new version of our AI models internally, whether it's generating, hyper realistic, environments or characters or weapons or personalities, we always test with the Hot Dog King now. It's become a meme internally. It's quite fun.
It's
Including on Jen.
Yeah.
Most of,
Including
Aaron's
Jen.
most of Aaron's prompts that are saved are Hot Dog King with a few other
Related.
words.
I was about to say, is that supposed to be like music from like if you're at a food truck or something? How exactly does that?
It actually, you know what?
Jen seems to figure it out.
Kind of
fucking
understood
truck.
the brief, and it gave this kind of like, royal entrance type vibe to it.
So 3 things here before I let you guys go. Number 1, Shara, The Hunt. We've heard about.
So I was still like looking at my list during this, and I was like, I'm not going to be able to get to like half of these, and I was trying to think what questions to ask. So this is kind of I think I asked like one question that was on the sheet, then I made up the others.
About it. South by Southwest was the last kind of bring up of that. Is there anything that potentially we hear about it again soon?
For
You'll
the
hear
hunt.
about it soon.
Soon, very soon.
Everything's
kind of
a piece of
soon.
the puzzle, and we're in a lot of conversations with a lot of brands and IP, and the intricacy of how the hunt will move through the Readyverse and open, we will share more on very soon.
Amazing.
And I think also you'll see a little bit more about how the Readyverse is coming together. Well, a lot more actually about how the Readyverse technology is coming together with our Consensus 24 panel next week. So we have a featured panel for those of you who don't know, with myself, Shara, Ernie, and Dan at Consensus in Austin, and we'll be showcasing the next kind of unlock into.
I had somebody that actually DM'd me and was like, "Yo, you like Futureverse, don't you?" I was just at Consensus. They've had the best pitch. No cap. No cap. Doing a podcast with them or stream a couple weeks from now. So I'll share it when that happens. But I was like, damn, all right. We converted one from Consensus at least. Nice.
In terms of revealing what's been built under the hood to bring the Readyverse to life.
And if I can get a prediction from both of you regarding how big of an impact digital assets will play a part in our future, and maybe Aaron, start with you and then Shara.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that is true now, and probably only really become true in the last 12 months, is digital assets are here to stay and are going to be the fabric by which value is transferred in the future, stored and transferred. And I think now people across, you know, the mainstream, unless they're got their head in the sand or they're stuck on a bias from 10 years ago, are realizing that that is an inevitable future. And whether it's gaming companies or tech companies or finance companies, or, you know, or anyone that's kind of trying to move value around, I think that realization is that it's now inevitable that's going to be the case. And so it will impact every part of everyone's lives. And hopefully, you know, two things will be true about that. One is that they won't notice it, and two is that we'll be underneath it.
Shara, predictions for digital assets impacting our future.
The future is here and they're impacting it. They're everything that we'll know. It just depends on the generation. The youngest generation right now, that's all that they'll know. The next few years are going to showcase just the blurred line between the physical and the digital. We always say we're already in the metaverse. It's just how much do we use these things, and what do you classify as a digital asset? Because everything in theory that you transact or trade or experience or connect with is look, we're in a digital world, but in our minds, it's not that it's not if, it's just, it's already here, and now it's just expanding considerably.
Final point. Here's the fun one. What are your guys' favorite artist, band, musician right now? Aaron, we'll start with you.
God, that's a tough one. If I go on all time, then it'll probably be Metallica.
Nice.
If I go what I'm like kind of vibing right now, Frankie Wah.
I'm not sure who that is, but sounds like an absolutely delightful musician.
DJ.
Oh, okay. Amazing. Shara, how about yourself?
Well, everyone already knows I'm a Swiftie, so that's that. But I'm always into everything. I mean, I'm a music person through and through. You'll find me at any concert. I'm going to Zach Bryan. This guy Shabuzi is blowing up in sort of the hip hop country vibe, and he's killing it. I just went to see his show the other night. So you name it, I'm into it. If it's someone that's doing something interesting and changing the world, I love it. And if it moves me, I love it even more.
Amazing. Guys, thank you so much for this. It's been amazing. Started following you guys in your journey a while ago, and this feels like a huge honor and a pleasure to be able to interview you guys on my show.
Of course, I'll slip
likewise, man. Thanks for having us on.
I'll slip you my nail photo now, and you can share it out with this.
Okay. Wait, are you serious? Am I supposed to, where am I looking?
Come on, I'm like, oh
As a
shit,
thank
oh
you,
shit, what
I'll
do I
send you
do?
my next nail picture because I was about to put it out. You can put it out.
Okay, that's insane. All right, amazing. I'm gonna have to.
Okay, so listen, look at the memories we got from this. So this was Shara's nail alpha here. Yo, what's going on in person? Thank you for the follow. So that was the nail alpha. This is the cheese whiz joke where everybody was laughing at the beginning. Feels good, you know what I mean? Good start to the stream overall. And then for the trailer itself, if you guys never saw it,
Haven't even gotten ready yet, and Futureverse out here making announcements. Haven't even gotten ready yet,
Oh,
and
whoops, sorry.
Futureverse out here making announcements.
We have hundreds of thousands of users onboarding now.
You can go from a Ready Player One universe into a Harry Potter world.
The Root Network brand tagline is where anything can be connected to anything.
And we get to create the future of the internet.
live on May 21st, I get to interview Aaron and Shara. See you then. Banger. So now you guys got the full picture. Imagine being a part of that story, knowing every little bit about that. That stream basically wraps up. We do a crazy marble stream with a root name, chooserich.root. The guy that won that has still not hit me back yet. I need to bug him about it. But yeah, the interview was really, really fun. I hope you guys enjoyed that. And if you've been following on my X feed, I posted a video the other day about mic pop filters. And if you saw that, you probably noticed a lot during that, the mic popping. And that's why we got it. Always care about the production, ladies and gentlemen. Always care about the production. Thanks so much for hanging out. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I'll see you tomorrow again for the traditional X feed. Have yourself